What's going on, guys? This is Steve from AltCoin Buzz, and before we get into today's topic, I want you to make sure you're subscribed to us here on YouTube. Click the subscribe button, and then right next to that, hit the bell for notifications to make sure that you stay up to date with our notifications here when we drop new videos on YouTube. And head over to Twitter. Check us out. We're at AltCoinBuzzIO. We're tweeting all day, every day, so stay tuned. And over there, you can also make sure that you hit the bell to make sure that you subscribe to our notifications over there, too. And if you happen to not be on Twitter or you're also on Instagram, one way or the other, check us out on Instagram. We're AltCoinBuzz, dropping pretty much the same info as on Twitter. Be a part of the altcoin army, and let's get today's topic kicked off. I wanted to talk to you guys about some things that you can do during a down market. So obviously there's no hiding it here. The last couple days have been massively down in the cryptocurrency sphere. We've gone down over $200 billion. That's a heck of a lot of money. It's starting to feel like that pre-Christmas crash, right? You know, that micro crash, flash crash as they called it, right before Christmas. And we knew that we were going to come into the new year strong. We had a nice strong push literally right after New Year's. Seemed to let the wind out of the sails a couple days ago, and it's kind of like inhale, exhale, or as Jeff calls it, 3 steps forward, 1 step back, sometimes 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. And there's some things going on out there, right? A lot of it seemed to be triggered right around the time that CoinMarketCap had excluded the Korean exchanges from the valuation of the currencies. And it created a little bit of uncertainty, and it lowered the average valuation of the coins by their index because the Korean exchanges are trading at a higher premium. They're paying, sometimes 50% more, just as a general ballpark for these coins. A lot of people have to wonder why. Are they on the up and up? Are they money laundering? They just going crazy? Is it a hype over there? And then are there difficulties with exchanging the Korean won in and out of currencies that we don't have the same level of difficulty or same degree of difficulty here in the United States? Possibly there's a shortage of those coins available to them that they're holding in their marketplace. I certainly, for one, haven't directly taken any of my coins over to any of their exchanges to help them participate. So could be a lot going on there. Plus, we've got some potential news coming out here that we're working on a video for as well. But, so we want to talk about things to do in a down market. And I had just gotten my stepfather into investing into cryptocurrencies for the first time. He was very resistant to me talking to him about it, despite my successes with it. And then his friends started to tout their successes or so-called successes. So once his peers started talking to him about it on a peer-to-peer basis, then he decided to start probing me for some questions on how do I get started, things like that. So we went over the basics and got him to hold on to some Bitcoin because the market was going down already by then. So I told him, I said, hey, don't worry. I think the Bitcoin is about 15.5 when maybe might have been slightly higher when he put in. And I said, hey, I want you to go ahead and put in because, better get started now than never, because I felt like he was going to hesitate out of the market if he didn't get in. And I don't know, nobody knows at any given point what the market's going to do, up or down, right? You can just kind of sense it, read it live, do it the Bill O'Reilly style, and do it live. But you can't really predict it ahead of time like Nostradamus. So I warned him that, hey, don't sweat it. Bitcoin's going to probably drop to $13,000. It's a point of resistance. At this point, we're looking at it falling. I just refreshed my screen. It is closing in quick on $13,000. But you have to remind yourself of the fact that you don't lose money on any given position unless you actually sell it. So that is always true. And I guess the only time it isn't true is when, in particular, that your holding vaporizes, right? Or whatever they call it. Like, let's say you're holding a coin. Because this happened to me on penny stocks where I would hold a position. Penny stocks are very risky. Some of these micro coins out here are very risky, and just investment in general is risky. This isn't gambling, but it is a measured risk. It's an investment. So if you treat it like gambling, then you're probably not mature enough to really benefit the market. You're probably doing more harm than good, but there is a difference between trading and gambling. So I'll let you guys make that distinguishment yourself, because I think that there's a lot of interpretations of that. So I'm glad that it actually started going down when he got in. Not because I want to see my stepdad lose money, but I think that it's really good for him to come into a market and watch it immediately go down, because then his first experience is sobering, right? Everyone else that was getting in right around New Year's and dumping their Christmas money in was in that euphoric high, that drunken state of like, sky's the limit. Everything's going crazy. We saw what could be determined as let's look at the market cap. We saw what could be construed as an unhealthy influx, right? Just like if we see a coin have the same type of behavior, you expect to see some type of pullback, and that's not always true, but you kind of predict that. You have the waves that go in there. So you have the up, the down, the up, the down, the up, the down, the up, the down. It's going to go down. It could even come back down here to this relative point of resistance and bring us back down to a $500 billion market cap. If it breaks through that point, then then who knows at that point. But rule number one, good old Charlie Lee style, you can hodl that coin. So that's something you can do when the market's down. So take your positions and hold them. So hold them. Hold on for dear life. Although Charlie Lee touted that for a long time, he cited conflict of interest and sold at an all-time high. So take that for what it's worth. But that man might be a freaking genius. Because what do? You take profit when it's high, and then you hodl when it's low. You don't have to hodl when it's high. Then again, it might not always be wise to sell your entire position just because you're up, but you guys do what you want to do. You determine when it comes to gains, you guys determine how much gains is appropriate for you. That could be 20%. It could be 1,000%. Some people who hold out for more than 1,000% in gains might just be wishful thinkers, but maybe they know some things from time to time that I don't. And sometimes it happens so fast in an unprecedented way that you don't realize that you're so far up in a position until it makes the news. And then you go, I've got some of that coin. You go check it, and then you're gobsmacked. So hodling is rule number one. We'll get into some actual tactics. I consider hodling an actual tactic, but rule number two, relax, take a deep breath. Pick up a hobby, like learn to crochet, go out with the kids, take your wife out to dinner. Don't celebrate like it's party like it's 1999, but step away from the market for a little bit, because short of panicking and selling your position, there's really not a whole lot you can do to affect the outcome of what's going on. It's a community effort. So that's why we speak to you guys in the community with this sound confidence, even though like at this given moment compared to a few days ago, I have to admit that my entire portfolio is down. I have a few coins that somehow managed to skate by with near break-evens or some gains, but the overall holdings, the total portfolio value, is down in relation to US dollar. I think in Satoshis, I'm holding pretty steady. I may have gone up on Satoshis. And some people measure their success in investing in cryptocurrencies based on that. So if you take that, then maybe I'm breaking even. And that's cool too, because Satoshis are a commonplace value. I tend to think of everything in US dollars because my mortgage company has yet to send me a bill in Satoshis, which could be good if it was not a adjusted average. So those two keys right there will help you feel a little bit more calm during this crazy storm. Hodling and relaxing. Now, there are some applied tactics that you can take outside of just these self-help type of techniques. So, number one, yes, the market's down, just like it was right before Christmas. If you were fortunate and or smart right before Christmas, you injected money into the market. That does a number of things. You buy when it's low. That's great because you're getting into these things when they're at a reduced value. So using new cash coming in, whether you got pesos or won or yen or US dollars or euros, you're getting the most amount of coin for the dollar relative to when it was up a few days ago. So take that for what you will. I'm shopping for some camera equipment right now. If my camera equipment had dropped by as much as this market has and by as much as Bitcoin has, you bet your bottom dollar I would be buying that equipment without hesitation. But unfortunately, the camera equipment I'm looking at, which I guess I'm looking at camera equipment, is holding an all-time premium because it's brand new, it's new to market. I'm trying to shoot some video in better than 4K, which sounds crazy, but I've got the equipment to edit that type of stuff, and that's part of my day job. So it's one of the many things that I do. Now, you wouldn't necessarily know that because we produce these like fantastic videos here at AltCoin Buzz that are really just fancy screenshots, screen captures of the market condition, but c'est la vie there. So that is something you can do. Put in cash, buy something that's on sale. That's not the answer most people are looking for. So we get those three out of the way. People don't, it's like anytime my wife's going mad, the last thing she wants me to do is tell her to relax, tell her to go sit down and do something, that sort of thing. Now, she would be okay with me putting in cash into her problem usually most of the time. So maybe that one's a viable solution. Now, you guys have heard of Tether, right? I mean, some people treat it like a running joke. It's USDT is its ticker mark. And this is an actual viable tactic. It's up to 29 on the value here. I think that's up. Let's take a look. Not necessarily up in value per coin because it's meant to tether itself to the US dollar. But take a look at that market cap. Hey, it's gone up, right? So it's going up while the rest of the market cap's going down. And gee whiz, I wonder why that is. So even though Tether maintains at or very close to a $1 US average, it's not something you purchase and invest in for future gains. It's really, to me, it's a stop loss. And it's a risk to put any money into it also. Not because it's going to go up or down in US dollar value. Those fluctuations you see there get intentionally corrected very quickly because it's kind of like an arbitrary coin. So the strategy here is like, let's say I was holding on to my Bitcoin from like $17,500 and I'm like, wow, this is great. I bought my Bitcoin at 14.8. I'm doing fantastic. And then you start to sense like, well, hey now, Bitcoin fell back to like 16.8. I've seen this happen before, right? You put two and two together. You guys are getting smart. You're kind of reading the flow of the waves, like right before you get out there with your surfboard. And you're like, you don't go right in when the water's coming in at you because you have to fight the current on the way out. So you wait till the current pulls back in and it sucks you into the ocean. So you're waiting for that tidal movement in the market to dictate that maybe a smart thing to do would be to take some or all of your position. That's up to you. Like, I'm not going to tell you what to do with it, and I don't certainly move all my position into any one coin. But let's say you're looking for some stability or you're in something volatile and you want to get into a soft, cushy place during this downturn. So you lock that Bitcoin in at, let's say, 16.8 because you sensed it pull back off of 17.5. You bought it at, lower than that. And then you watch the market continue to drop and Bitcoin gets down to $13,000. That's okay, man. You just bought in to Tether at that US dollar or with the US dollars that your Bitcoin was worth when you decided to take a safety position. You fall back into a readout and then you end up in Tether. So then that Tether position is something that now you say, oh, no, it's at 13,000. I want my Bitcoin back. And then you buy back into Bitcoin, like go on Bittrex, wherever the case may be on a USDT market, and you repurchase that Bitcoin or whatever your favorite altcoin is. Although you'll find there's a lot less trading pairs on USDT than most. So it tends to work on some of the more popular or bigger market cap coins. So now if you've never thought or considered of why you would even want to get into Tether, now maybe it makes a little bit more sense because you're not looking to take your money out of the market. That sucks for the entire market because then you pull it out of the market cap completely and the calculations that go in the market cap. And it's also sometimes a little bit harder to get the money out and to put new money in. So when you sense the market's getting ready to jump back in, it's easier to have coins tradable on an exchange such as USDT. Now you know. So to some of you guys, that's not even a revelation. You're sitting here thinking like, hey, we've gone through 4 techniques and you haven't taught me anything. Well, there's like 140,000 guys and gals out there. A lot of gals joining in, man. If you guys haven't noticed, it is not so much of a sausage fest right now in the cryptocurrency sphere. Good for you single guys, I guess, if you want to get to a girl and talk some crypto. Take her back to your crib, talk crypto. It's Netflix and chill style. But now's the last technique of what you'd want to take a look at. And this one's called leverage. I call it leverage. It kind of similar to my arbitrage technique. When the whole market's going down and it's just nosedived, and let's say you're put a little bit in tether, or maybe you think I'm stupid for suggesting the tether technique, but I tell you, it's really kind of what it's for, safety net wise. Let's say you're holding a position and you're in, let's grab a good one here, a good one just in the sense of a low versus a high market cap. So if you get the sense of where I'm heading, it's kind of like a seesaw type of approach. So let's say that you were looking to get into some Komodo, and then you were holding on to Electroneum. So Electroneum is up big time, but it's down for the 24 hours. And then you're taking a look at Komodo, and Komodo's like got kicked in the shorts all week, and it's down again over the 1 hour. And you're like, well, now's not such a bad time to get into Komodo, and my Electroneum ain't doing so bad. It's holding on to some pretty good, it's got some good meat on those bones. Well, now I could take some of my Electroneum position and trade that into Komodo, because now not only is Komodo down relative to US dollar, but relative to Electroneum, that thing just took a big old beating. So now I can kind of multiply that. Now you get the sense of why it's called leverage. So it's kind of like arbitrage trading. And you could even apply arbitrage to this too. So let's say that you had that Electroneum. You're like, well, I can't trade Electroneum directly into Komodo. So let's say I wanted to cash out my Electroneum. So I take a look at the markets, assuming you don't know where it's traded at. And it's only currently traded on Cryptopia, although there's been some news relative to Electroneum that it's getting listed on a couple other exchanges. So we'll wait to see what that's all about. And there, lo and behold, you can trade it into USDT if you wanted to, or you can get some Bitcoin. So this was a bad example on how to do arbitrage on trading, because there's really just one market. But the idea there is that you'd be looking at multiple markets: Binance, Bittrex, Poloniex, Cryptopia, Trade Satoshi. God, don't do that. But some of these other ones, and finding out what the best value is that you get for that Bitcoin. Interestingly, you get better USDT tether value for that, just slightly, like a thousandth of a dollar less, more. So let's see what kind of coins are traded on many exchanges, like Ethereum. So Ethereum's a good example, because I've used this to arbitrage a few times because it is so popular, and I haven't been on the Korean exchanges where they pay just a big old ton of money. But so you look and you say, okay, I got Ethereum, I can go to Binance and get Bitcoin at this value, 1163. Okay, where's it trading high? Mostly the Korean exchanges. But you try to find some, 1201. Okay, so if I was on GDAX, I could trade it into Euro for 1201. Okay, that's higher than what I thought. And then, or 1398, well, I bet you that was Korean. No, so USDT on ZB.com. And you trade it into a position that gives you the highest value. And then you move that coin into another position. Let's go back to that Komodo, since we were just using it as an example. I'm not endorsing Komodo, nor have I ever purchased it. I just saw it as a percentage-wise an opportunity. I just figured I'd be clear with you guys. So we go into Komodo. Since we know it's down big time, especially relative to Electroneum, we find out, okay, what markets do I now need to move my newfound Bitcoin into, since I traded to Bitcoin or USDT with that Electroneum. So now I take a look and I find its trading pairs, and I can trade into Bitcoin and I can trade into Ethereum and Dogecoin on Cryptopia, but nobody's actually trading in there in value. So looks like you've got to be on Bittrex and on Binance for the most part to catch a good trade volume. And then you take a look. So here's the arbitrage example. Given that if you move it to Binance and you have to pay $6.48 per Komodo, or you can move it to Bittrex and get it for 10 cents cheaper, which one would you be going to? And you'd probably be going to Bittrex. And the reason it's probably lower on Bittrex is that there might be more selling orders than there are buying orders. And on Binance, there might be slightly disproportionately higher buying orders versus selling orders relative to Bittrex. That just gives you that supply and demand logic of why prices are what they are. So if this is your first time around in a down market and you're starting to sweat yourself, remain calm, hold on to your positions, choose when to get in a tether. The best time to get in a tether is right as soon as you know the market's going down. And that's like as if you had the Marty McFly almanac and knew exactly when the market was going down. It's your call on what to do there. And there is risk in doing it, because if you make the wrong call, then you end up with dollars, and then when the market booms on you and like instantaneously, and you can't get back to your original position. I think that's the fear of what some people don't, why they don't think about using USDT. But USDT is traded on most markets. Let's go back to that up at number 29, assuming it's still there. And you can see that USDT, although you can't cash USDT out on CoinMarketCap, it's not really meant to be a cash out, it's meant to be a holdings. You can see that it's on a megaton of exchanges, and there has been a massive amount of volume on there. So no sweat there, guys. You remain calm. We've got some more news coming out for you. Take it in stride. You're gonna get punched in the face every once in a while, and then other times you're gonna spill your drink, and then it all just seems to magically work out one way or the other. But don't forget to take your profits when it does go up, right? This should be that sobering reality that skies are not the limits all the time, and that any given day is a really hard day to look at the market, because looking at it when it's at all-time highs doesn't mean that it's always going to be that way, and looking at it when it's getting kicked in the shorts like the last couple days doesn't mean it's always going to be that way either. Remain confident, keep your money in the market, and don't invest anything that you can't afford to lose at any given time. So always sound advice. Take it easy, guys.